So this week, I've been trying to do one at least once a week so that I can keep practicing and kind of hold myself accountable. But actually, I almost didn't do one this week because I wasn't feeling very inspired. Usually, when I do builds, I am really excited or I have some sort of direction that I really want to go with, but I didn't really have one until last night. I tried to kind of sit down and force myself to make something last night, and I was trying different ideas. I have a couple that I want to try. I want to do a traditional Portland home. I live in Portland, Oregon, and so, but that one, what I want to do is kind of too complicated, I think, right now for my skill set. So I deleted that, and then I wanted to do maybe like a modern witch home. And that started out okay, but I wasn't really that excited about it. Then last night, I was about to fall asleep because, of course, that's when this happens. I thought about making a rounded roof like that one I have over there and putting those Moschino windows in there. And I was like, yes. So I originally actually wanted it to be kind of a loft and do it more in the style of those A-frame luxury cabins that I see sometimes. And so when I started, I did try by doing that, but then to me it just kind of looked like a big barn. It didn't really look right. And then I was like, what if I just put it on the ground? And so I did that, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And so you could see I had to move it when I put anything in it or furnished it at all, because you can't really you have to completely lower the walls. You can't do half walls when you're playing or furnishing in there. So that might be annoying if you're actually playing in this house. But I really like how it looked. I was pretty proud of myself because this is definitely different from the builds that I normally do. I'm not very good at modern builds typically because I feel like if I try to do things that are too matchy, it just doesn't look right. But I'm very happy with how this turned out. It's probably one of my favorite builds that I've done. So I love that little greenhouse garden. And I imagine this would be for like a wealthy couple, like retired. I don't know. I didn't have a very specific sim in mind, but definitely wealthier. And it doesn't have as much, it's not maybe as stylized or have as much personality as some of my other builds, but I feel like that's kind of the thing with modern homes. I'm not trying to diss modern homes, but they're definitely just sleek, clean lines. Nothing too uh, nothing nothing too not polished. I'm not wording that very well, but I hope you understand what I mean. But I really like how it came out. I still think it does have its own personality in a way, but I didn't have like a Sim's career and lifestyle picked out, which I usually do when I build, but I still liked it. I went with a pretty simple kitchen. Again, I didn't put too much clutter in it because I feel like that kind of takes away from the modern effect. Maybe some people can do a cluttered modern build and it looks good, but as I mentioned before, I'm a bit of a novice with modern builds, and so I was playing it a little bit safe. But I like how the decorations came out anyway. I feel like it still had some personality, and it doesn't have as much, it's not maybe as stylized or have as much personality as some of my other builds, but I feel like I'm just complimenting myself a ton at this point. But 24 hours ago I was like, nah, I'm not gonna even play Sims this week because I just didn't have any motivation or inspiration. But yeah, so I move the table in there so I can get another computer desk. I imagine these people are maybe kind of creatives and a little bit artsy, so there's that. And then I put 4 chairs so that they could host. The home's really only made for about 2 Sims. But yeah, I'm like, of course they would have an iPad and a camera. I don't know, I figured maybe photographers. I feel like I keep saying, oh, I don't have an idea for this, and then I go and specify exactly who I was thinking when I was building this. And then I kind of went with an interesting choice, I feel like, on the wallpaper. You'll see that in a second. I picked one that came with the university pack, and it's actually like striped. And I was like, maybe this is too bold. Maybe I need to simplify. But I was like, you know what? No, I like it, and so I'm going to keep it. And I really like how the living space turned out with the kitchen. See, I tried a couple things, but I just ended up really liking this university wallpaper with the lines on it. I thought it was a little bit interesting. It was better than just boring white walls, which is probably what my second choice was going to be. So then I moved to this little mud room, I think is what it's called. I've heard other people say that before, where it's kind of like, it's where you take off your coat and your shoes if they're wet and stuff. And my Sims has been in winter for like ages, so every time I try to go take screenshots, it's snowing. You might have noticed in my last video, at the very end, there was snow coming down in the backyard when it was supposed to be kind of a summery looking build. But I figured that kind of worked for this one a little bit because I had this little sunroom. Also, I feel like it would be super cool to hang out in that little garden area and just watch the snow come down. I would spend like my entire life in there if I lived in this house. So I like how it came out. There's a lot of natural light, and I didn't put a lot of curtains because I picked this to be in Windenburg, and it kind of, it's forestry. I feel like you wouldn't need a lot of curtains. You could kind of just go be out in the window, in the open. Yeah. So here's the bedroom. I use that bed a ton because I think it's cool. It's just simple. The downside is it doesn't, if your Sims sleep on it, they'll be like, I have a bad back, and I'm like, I don't care. So I didn't like some of the other more expensive beds, at least for this build. Then I spent a little time picking out the artwork that goes above, and that's when I tried to add a little bit of color with some blues and some reds. And then also I noticed my kind of crutch is I just keep putting guitars as decorations in corners that I don't know what to do with. I thought about putting an easel, but I just like the way that guitars look. I think it looks very like Instagram, and they just look nice, and then it gives your Sims something to do if they move in here. I did put this one on the gallery. I think my gamer tag is like Rachel_time or Rachel time, something like that, because I was pretty proud of this one. Usually I only put a couple that I really like on the gallery, but this one I thought was unique. So yeah, and then I just did landscaping. This one was pretty simple because it was a smaller house. I kind of skipped over the bathroom because I don't think bathrooms are that interesting, but yeah, so I think maybe I'm getting better. At least I'm better than I was when, I don't know, a year ago maybe. So I hope you liked this build. I just added a couple little details left, and then I have some screenshots. So thanks for watching.